Okay. What have I learned since COVID? So I've learned a lot actually. I've learned a whole load of practical skills, which I didn't have before, but I've also learned that I've learned so much. I've learned that people need each other, and it's actually, I've always known that, but the world seems to have learned that a bit more. I've learned that I don't need to go out into the big wide world unless for like groceries, unless it's absolutely necessary, and I actually don't feel a need to do that. I'm quite happy at home pottering around and doing stuff and being creative, which is quite strange because I always thought that performing was my drug of choice, and it is, but I can live without it. I'd like not to, but I can actually live without it if I have to, fairly happily.
Did you do anything online while COVID happened, or did you try and get online? Or?
So so we tried to do some live videos when the whole world shut down and everybody was going online. Myself and my husband decided to do some live concerts like everybody else was, but we live in the country, so there's not a good enough internet, which was really frustrating. So we put all the cameras up and got the gear and figured out how it all worked, and then very quickly realised that it was impractical because our internet didn't work. But in hindsight, I'm kind of glad that we didn't, because there was so much online, so many people saying, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. There was so much noise. I felt that we would have been lost in the sound, in the melange of noise, if that's a thing. So I'm very happy. I'm actually quite glad we didn't. But we have done some videos pre-recorded as if live and stuck them up. But it's much more selective than just going bleh and making that happen. Yeah.
When first you heard about COVID, how did that make you feel?
I was scared because I'm high risk. I have a compromised immune system. I have no spleen through some long-term immune illness and immune deficiencies. So yeah, it was pretty scary. And then at the beginning, I was like everybody else, a news hound, and I was just following everything, following the numbers every day, taking screenshots of the daily numbers just so that I could track it, just to have a kind of a concept of what was actually going on. And as long as, because we live in the country and I have a garden and trees and birds and butterflies and things, I could pretend it wasn't happening until I went out to go grocery shopping or do something else, and then sort of the reality is there.
So you had a safe space then. You had a garden. Tell me about your garden.
Well, the garden was fun. I've always liked to have to grow plants, though I've never really had much time to look after it. But because of the big wide open summer with no gigs or anything, actually we edited the garden. It was basically a wilderness out there, a wild patch, like a meadow for wildflowers and animals and insects, because that's one of my passions. But we actually went and we formed the garden into something that was actually garden-like, and we planted fruit trees, and we planted potatoes, so many potatoes, and what they call tomatoes, and we planted tomatoes, and it was such a joy to spend practically every day outside in the sun in the summer, pottering around and digging holes and figuring out what this amazing growth happens. And the lovely thing, even though COVID was happening, everybody was panicking and worried about it, and there was this fear which was almost tangible. But when you go out into nature, you realise that nature doesn't care, and it just keeps doing its thing anyway. And that's so grounding and so sort of a reality check, which really helped me. So most of the year I kind of bumbled along fairly happy, actually, as long as I didn't check in with what was outside of my safe space.
So you created a little micro environment for
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
I haven't asked anybody this, but it'd be worthwhile noting for record. I mean, what's your feeling on how Canada coped with its artists during COVID?
With its artists, with the general population, I think at the beginning anyway, Canada coped pretty well. And this thing they gave us all CERB, it didn't matter what job you had or whatever. If you'd lost a large part or all of your income, you got this lump of money every month, no questions asked. And in that respect, I think it was fantastic. And as an artist, it was very lovely to have that given, sort of handed to us. Whereas often artists kind of slide through the net or slightly sideways. There has been the Arts Council gave quite a few grants away, and they were doing this wonderful thing which we tried to do through live streaming, where if you did a live stream, they would pay you $100, which I think it might be more than that actually. I think it was $1,000. If you did a live stream, they gave you $1,000, which was such an amazing thing to have. And I know people who applied for that and got the money. And it didn't have to go through a big selection committee or anything. They just, okay, you did this, here you go, which I think was very beautiful. I know that a lot of other countries in the world have really struggled. The artists have really struggled, because I'm from England, so that's my interest, I suppose, or in my knowledge. And the artists there, musicians, have really struggled because they've been ignored and they're not respected like they are in Canada.
So you feel there's a difference there?
Oh, huge difference.
During this time, did you pick up any new skills, related skills, or totally unrelated skills?
Yeah, so at the beginning I thought, okay, what am I going to do with this time? I thought, I've always wanted to learn harp. I have a harp. I've been toying with it. So I thought, I'm going to get some lessons. So I had one lesson on the harp and I was like really excited. And then I thought, actually, I need to work on my violin, which is my main instrument. And so I refocused my desires to become a better violinist. But then I've always wanted to try wood burning, pyrography. So on a whim, I bought a pyrography pen. Did you know that pyrography is suddenly the number one this year, or last year in 2020, is the number one new art form that has gone viral? And that's not why I did it. I just thought, this would be nice. And I've discovered that I've got a real aptitude for it.
Burning desire?
A burning desire. I have an aptitude for burning holes in wood and designs in wood, and it's beautiful. My parents were artists and I grew up with art, but visual arts, but I haven't really done much with it for the last 30 odd years. So yeah, it was wonderful, and that being able to focus on the thing that you're doing, and there's the smell and this amazing that you put the pen onto the wood and something happens and you're totally focused in the present, and don't have to think about anything else. It was quite wonderful, and I'm going to continue that. So that was a really good skill to learn.
And how did you apply this pyrography? What did you do?
Oh yeah, so Steáfan started making instruments again, and so I burnt butterflies and moths and caterpillars and things onto the instruments, and beautiful designs, and then I got a commission to burn 5 monarch butterflies onto a garden fence, so they had to be life size. So then I found monarch butterflies that it's very sad, died at the side of the road on my daily walks, and brought them home and measured them and examined them, and went and burnt these 5 butterflies onto a friend's client's fence.
Nice.
Yeah, it was quite wonderful. Took me a very long time.
So Is there a particular COVID story that you'd like to share?
So during the earlier days when the world, our world, Canada, was warming up and we could play outside, we decided to go and play at some seniors' homes. Or we were hired to go and play at some seniors' homes. And there was one which was a quadrant. So we set up, actually it was a really cold day, we set up in the middle of the quadrant, and the seniors came out onto their balconies to watch and listen and clap, which was lovely. But then we went and performed round the outer sides of the quadrant of the seniors' home, and to those people who couldn't see us in the middle. And there was this amazing thing happened. There was a couple on the 4th floor, and the husband and wife, and the wife called down, "My husband plays accordion." And so we said, "Get your accordion out." So he went and got his accordion, and he was yelling down, "Do you know this tune?" And we go, "Yes, we know this tune." And we had this jam session 4 floors up. I'm getting quite emotional about it. With this gentleman who hadn't been outside his apartment for 3 months and hadn't played with anybody, and he was used to playing with people several times a week, and that was really magical. And then we had our daughters with us who were dancing, do Irish dancing, and then the people who lived next to the seniors' home heard the music and came out, and it was a Highland dancer and her daughters. So they came and joined us. So we had this, it was this crazy thing that would, if you had it in a movie, you'd go, that would never happen. Whereas the accordionist 4 floors up was playing tunes with us, and then on one side were the Irish dancers dancing, and then on the other side were the Highland dancers dancing, something totally different to the same music. And it was this feeling of exhilaration and sharing which we hadn't had for a few months, and yeah, that was really amazing. And then we went round the other side of the quadrant, and the bus driver came along because we were playing in the road and leaned out and, you know, well done, and the odd person who was coming with their car or with their bicycle, "Oh, this is fantastic, thank you." It was a really amazing community spirit thing that, yeah, memory, beautiful memory.
That's lovely. That's a lovely story, and it's kind of heartwarming that you can still create a sense of community given all these strange conditions. So this is a tough one, but were there any dark moments during this time, and how did you work through them?
I'm a person who lives very much in the present naturally, and in normal times that can be quite detrimental because you're supposed to live in the past and the future and have this balance. But it actually really helped me during COVID, because here I am, this is what I'm doing now, end of story. But I did have some dark moments when reading the news or following the numbers and hearing stories of friends who had got COVID and were really sick, family as well who were really sick, all at various parts of the world. Down in Texas, my aunt and my cousin were hospitalised, and that was very scary. And I feel like the emotions during the year have been like the waves of an ocean. Sometimes it's been really calm and still, and other times you huge waves that's scary, but you just have to ride them out. So that's my darker times, but the people that I live with are very pragmatic and gave me a balance, gave me somewhere to return to. So I had a frame of reference to keep me solid and centre.
So that had a positive effect on your mental health then?
Oh, massively. Yeah, actually. It's kind of strange, and I feel slightly guilty saying that. But actually, I think I've really benefited from this downtime. Usually we're running around trying to make ends meet, trying to earn a living. and I'm still teaching I teach online, and now that COVID, well, we're back in lockdown, but just before I was teaching in person again, with all the precautions and masks and standing behind barriers and things. But I think that the lack of pressure of having to do anything. Yes, you can have enough sleep. If you want to watch a movie, you can. If you want to go and stare at the sun, you can. There's no timelines. Having no timelines has been extraordinary for my mental health. Yeah. I feel quite blessed, actually.
So coming out of that, do you have any new goals or resolutions that came out of that time?
There's a couple of things. I got contacted in September by a couple of friends who are string players, and we went and rehearsed in Toronto in a park, in a band shell, and then magically got there's another COVID story, magically got these gigs from somebody who was making a documentary in the park, who booked us for a gig, and then we got another gig which was filmed and put on to TV or something. So I'm hoping that band is a 5-piece with 5 women all playing stringed instruments. So I'm hoping that we're going to carry on going and build that. I'm kind of excited about that. I've also discovered that, or revisited the joy of composing and making stuff up and writing it down and getting other people to play it, which I've never really explored before. So I've set myself this year 2021,
So
to
these
really
are
explore
commissions,
that.
or did you just take it on yourself? Well, today I'm going to wake up and be a composer, or how did that happen?
No, I got a commission for composition from a gentleman in Port Hope, and he saw me in a concert and asked if I'd write a piece of music, and it's kind of woken up this passion that I haven't had time to address. And so now I've finished that composition, and I'm headlong into a new piece, and I've set myself the task of over the year, by the end of 2021, having a body of work that I've actually written that I'm proud of. I'm really proud of this piece that I've written for him. So that's been really good. And I think that if we hadn't had lockdown, and if we hadn't had COVID, I wouldn't have found that. Maybe another 10 or 20 years.
A new door, a new resolution.
And yeah. A new string to my bow, so to speak.
So where do you see yourself? It's a beautiful day, the sun is shining down, and it's July 2021. Where do you see yourself? Are you in with your quill and your ink composing? Or are you outside tending to your potatoes? Or are you at a festival somewhere? Or what do you see?
Well, in an ideal world, I'd love to be playing at a festival to 10,000 people. That would be amazing. But I'm not holding my breath. I think that's 2022. So 2021, I will be out in the garden tending to the potatoes and the flowers, and burning things in random pieces of wood that I can get my hands on, and composing with my quill and playing. That's my things that I'm juggling with, and reading, because it's important to read.
That's beautiful. Well, thanks for your time.
It's
Really
a pleasure.
appreciate your time today.
Thank you for asking me.
Say hi to your husband for me.
It's been so long since we've been here, this moment that we hold so dear. It felt as though night would forever stay. When you feel that low, there's always hope. Reach for my hand, I'll lead you home. It's there for you to always find the way. I'll tell you once, then tell you twice. Don't doubt it, look into my eyes. I'll always be the safest place to fall. If you ask me what together than alone. Now let's sit and dim the lights, tell tales of sleepless nights. The world is burning, tearing at the seams. We'll share truth about our lives. We'll pray time will make this right. 'Cause I need you here, not only in my dreams. I'll tell you once, then tell you twice. Don't doubt it, look into my eyes. I'll always be your safest place to fall. If you ask me what is coming, well, I don't know, but I'm loving you. One thing I'm sure of, the pain will come and go, but we're